I'm a human rights defender from Russia. I have worked there for over a decade, and I have represented there the interests of refugees and civil activists who have been repressed by the Russian government. And also I have defended different NGOs who have been labeled as foreign agents by the Russian government.
I'm a Russian scholar and I had the pleasure to be a visiting scholar with Fletcher. I'm a lawyer by background. My key research interests revolve around the law of the sea in the polar regions, ocean governance in the Arctic and Antarctic, regulation of shipping in these regions, as well as maritime disputes.
I study not only Russian military affairs, military industry, and so on, but also the Russian society, the Russian domestic politics, how it works, the institutional design of the Russian political economy system.
My name is Oleg Shakirov. I was a visiting researcher at the Fletcher School Russian Eurasia program. Over the years, my research interests were arms control, international security, US-Russia relations. At the Fletcher School, my project focused on the history of Russia-US diplomacy that addressed cybersecurity issues.
I was a visitor in transatlantic affairs classes and had conversations with the students and lecturers there on Euro-Atlantic security issues, which is my narrow field of expertise.
My research here went farther, much farther than I was able to imagine before I came here. So,
my work at Fletcher is about research on the institution of foreign agents, and it's comprehensive comparative analysis of foreign agents legislation in Russia and other countries. And I'm trying to show why this legislation is very dangerous for democracy. And I want to show how it works in Russia and what consequences it can lead to in the wrong hands. Now I can understand how to analyze the phenomenon, the institution of foreign agents, from the human security perspective.
My goal was to follow the evolution of Russia's and United States legal positions towards the Northern Sea route, analyze and understand the logic and motivation of the two countries' legal positions, and to identify potential ways of solving or at least mitigating the disagreements.
My idea was to make a more comprehensive, to paint a more comprehensive picture of these negotiations, and basically to show how cybersecurity emerged in the 90s and in the 2000s as an issue that could be addressed not only unilaterally but also through diplomacy.
my research is about political economy roots of the Russian aggression. It is, of course, it is currently related only with Ukraine, but we know very well that Russia was becoming aggressive more and more for more than decades.
The war in Ukraine had implications on my field of study. Negative trends in the Arctic have started before the war in Ukraine, when the spillover effect from the disagreements between states in other regions began taking its toll in the Arctic affairs.
Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine today not only violates the international law, not only takes the lives of tens of thousands of people, but it also used by the Russian government to justify the autocracy in which Russia lives and the status quo, to keep the status quo of Putin's regime. Because everyone who share anti-war views today are enemies, national traitors and foreign agents for the Russian government. And Russian authorities throw these people in jail, stigmatize them by the repressive laws.
My future research, I'm sure it will result in a number of publications, either in articles peer-reviewed journals or in monographs. That's because we see the strong demand on this research, and we see lack of these demands either in Russia or in the United States. So everybody's talking about escalations, but few go deep into details. How can we prevent it? Not by just diplomatic means, but technically.
So what I did at the Fletcher School was two things. First, I dedicated my time to interviewing people who had first-hand experience with the negotiations between Russia and the United States. I talked to some former officials and experts who have been dealing with these issues over the years. I also studied a lot of literature on this topic.
I studied law as an instrument of balancing different interests and of achieving a consensus between the stakeholders on how they would solve the problems and address the challenges they share. But the law is only relevant when there is enough political will.
At Fletcher, I have a great opportunity to work in, well, a kind of unique atmosphere here. Fletcher's atmosphere is unique in my view because of the mutual respect and interest between students and professors. And professors here are so highly qualified professionals, and they give you a lot of inspiration and motivation to get better and to work harder and smarter on your own.
I can do this more than I could do in Russia or somewhere in Europe in 1 month. So the intensity is very high. The job is interesting. The research communication, professional communications, the communications with students, with you guys, master students, PhD students. You help me a lot because your questions, your thoughts, they help me to continue my research, to conduct my research.
And I think it is a very wise decision of Fletcher that in times when the relations between the United States and Russia are maybe at its lowest, that the Fletcher didn't follow the mainstream of cutting ties with the Russian institutions and individuals, and kept the door open to be able to invite Russian scholars. I'm sure that this decision would turn into a huge advantage of Fletcher when time comes for the United States and Russia to search for ways to restore the dialogue.
So I did not only work on my project, I also audited a couple of classes at Fletcher. One class was the one taught by Josephine Wolf, Cyber Risk Management. It was a very interesting class that was dedicated to cybersecurity, but not from the international relations perspective, more from policy making and business perspective.
As a visiting scholar here, I have taken 2 classes. A class of Professor Chris Miller, Russian foreign policy, and also a class of Professor Eileen Bennett, Introduction to Code Security. And it was a good choice, really good choice. Well, I would say that Professor Chris Miller, he is just an amazing scholar and quite interesting person, and he provides you a new vision of foreign affairs, foreign policy. And we had a lot of discussions with other students, and each class was more like a mini conference, and it was quite interesting and quite useful for me to get better understanding of what Russia looks like from the outside.
I enjoyed my time at the Fletcher School a lot. It's a very vibrant place. I was very happy to be there. It's the first, if I'm not mistaken, school that taught graduate level programs focused on diplomacy in the United States.
And I also had a very interesting experience because I gave a guest lecture in Professor Chidedinkao's class, Law and Development. Professor Chidedinkao's is also this amazing scholar, and I was really impressed how his students were involved in my guest lecture, and I just really love that my lecture raised a lot of questions.
I was really impressed not only by Tufts itself, but its role within the community. Medford, Somerville, and Cambridge community, all these communications with Harvard, for instance.
Well, I also want to emphasize that Tufts provides a lot of very comfortable and great working space. Again, library and Tisch Library are two of my favorite places here. And of course, I have to thank the most helpful person in Russian Eurasia program here at Fletcher, Arik Burakovsky. I really grateful to him for his help and his support with administrative issues and questions.
I still believe that diplomacy is a very important domain, and we should not, focusing on military intelligence and other areas of statecraft, we should not forget about diplomacy, because that's one way we can solve international security issues, one of which is cybersecurity. I wish good luck to all the students there, to all the scholars and practitioners who work at the Fletcher School. My time there was full of positive experiences and full of discovery.
You helped me to do this. And the Fletcher School and Arik Burakovsky, you all helped me to do this. So I'm conducting my research activity alone, but definitely it is not. I'm not alone, because I'm surrounded by people like you who make this research possible. So thank you.